Hi, welcome. My name's Thatcher Ross, and today I'll be doing my tribute speech on the Native American boarding schools. The Native American boarding schools were created by the government to make the indigenous Americans into what they would call white people. How they would start this is they would go to the indigenous Americans' homes and take the children away and put them in trains to send them to the Native American boarding schools. One of the sources I read was a primary source of Luther Standing Bear, who was a student of the schools and gave his personal experience. In his personal experience, he talked about how they went to his hometown. The government and the people of the government went to his hometown and asked his father if they could take him, Luther Standing Bear, to the Native American boarding schools. They would call it this great boarding school that would help change the students and put them in a great position where they can join the American society and have all of these good things. They never really revealed what would actually happen, though. And of course, the family said yes, and Luther Standing Bear thought it would be a great thing to do. So he also agreed. In his experience on the way there, he would recall on the bus ride leaving the buses to go to the bathroom and having to have a police brigade to block him in and make a path for him because of how mean the white people were to the indigenous Americans on the train. They would call them white trash, call them names, and belittle them. Once they got to the Native American boarding schools, they would strip them of everything they've known. They would get rid of their names, get rid of how they talked, and they would get rid of all their clothes. They would put them in clothes that were very uncomfortable, made it hard to breathe in, and it was very itchy and very not pleasant. Luther Standing Bear recalled saying that the worst thing that he ever had to deal with in the Native American boarding schools was the clothes because of how bad they were. They would be given a random name by being blindfolded and then picking a name blindly from a board, and that would be their name that they went with, and it would be an American white name. They would be taken away from everything they'd known, and they would be stripped away from their culture. They would not be able to remember their indigenous American names, and anytime they would try to bring that up, they would be punished. The punishments would be cruel. Sometimes they would be even as bad as not letting the people sleep or not even letting them eat. And they would punish the students right in front of all of the other students. Whenever they punished the students, they would make sure that it wasn't just one student that got punished. All the students got punished, even if only one person did a bad thing. The teachers even recall having to even make punishments for the students when they didn't even want to punish them because they did the smallest thing ever. Whenever one of the teachers had to quit their job because of how bad it was, they would have to treat the kids like they were nobodies, and they would have to treat them like they were a grain of sand. The students had to live in houses that would fit about 14 students to one room. So it would be very tight and very close, and it would be very tight for all the students to live in. The students were put through torment for many years until about 20 years after the Native American boarding schools were created. The government started to realize how bad these schools were and decided to get rid of them. But they would not get rid of the students' voices and all of the pain that all the students had to go through. It started off with these Native American boarding schools letting parents decide who can go. But then they would start enforcing all students to go, and you would be able to graduate from the schools once you were 21. Some of the punishments would even range to killing the students. That's how bad the punishments were. The Native American boarding schools are never really talked about, and I never learned about them until my history class opened my eyes up to it and until my librarian taught me about it. The Native American boarding schools need to be talked about more because it was a huge Holocaust and it was a huge genocide, not a Holocaust. It was a huge genocide, I'm sorry. And it needs to be covered because of how traumatizing it was for the students. You can't let those voices go unheard. let alone that I'm giving my tribute to the Native American boarding schools and all the students suffering because of how bad they were treated, and they never deserve that at all. Thank you.